with the world in such a brutal place at the moment and so much happening politically and, of course, with the conflict in the Middle East, it must be a real challenge to be a cartoonist. Well, for Mark Knight, that's something he absolutely loves. He joins us now. Mark, it must be tough with something like a conflict that we're seeing in the Middle East. How do you get your head around something like that?
Look, it is, Steve. There's not many jokes there. So, I guess you just have to look at the issue and try and, explain it through the use of visual metaphors, distill the issue down. And this is what I found this week when Israel started its final bombing campaign against the Iranians. And I likened the sort of Iranian government as this multi-headed serpent. And what Israel has been doing is one by one is severing its heads, its proxies. We've seen Hezbollah go, we've seen Hamas, and now the nuclear threat. So one by one, the multi-headed serpent is being decapitated.
Yeah, very clever and very touching and very genuine, I've got to say. Our Prime Minister, of course, he flew all the way to Canada. He was about to have a meeting with Donald Trump, but because of what's happened in the Middle East, the great man took off and went back to Washington for emergency meetings. What's happened here with Albo? Where is everyone?
Oh, this is one of the saddest cartoons I've drawn this year, Steve. Poor Albo, classically being stood up by President Trump. And, it was fun to illustrate this one. I was thinking, how sad would it be sitting there in a restaurant? All the chairs are on the tables, the chef is mopping up. And at 11:15, he's just sending one sort of little optimistic text, Donald, saying, are we still on?
That's beautifully drawn. I love that. And Albanese and dining in restaurants is not the only cartoon this week that you've had to draw, because I wrote a column for you today that talked about Dan Andrews and Albo having lunch together in the most expensive restaurant in the country. Explain what you've drawn here.
A ripper column, Steve. I loved it when you drew attention to that meeting or that lunch, as you say, in one of our most expensive restaurants between Dan and Albo. I was licking my lips with just caricaturing these two having lunch. And of course, what has he chosen? Well, I think it's his favourite cut, which is a good slice of the Victorian taxpayer, and he's got his fork into it, and he's gonna love that one.
I'd love to know who paid. AUKUS has also been back in the news, the submarine deal. We've got a big review now by the Americans. Are they reviewing whether they're actually going to give us any? What have you drawn here? Oh, look at Donald Trump as a submarine.
Well, we've got to try and sweeten the deal, Steve. We forget about Virginia class. I think we need to be building Trump class submarines. I think, President Trump is a person who loves to have his ego stroked. So let's build a sub that resembles the great man. And the AUKUS Trump class submarine is my idea.
As usual, you've had a magnificent week. You are a genius. Good on you, Mark. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks' time. Mark Knight, you can catch him in the Herald Sun newspaper all day, every day, 7 days a week.